Hello.
Yes, can I speak to Mr. Shamrock?
This is Kent.
Hey, I'm sorry about that, Mr. Shamrock. We were having a bit of difficulty with our phone lines to get through to you. This is Felix and Austin from Pipebomb Radio.
Oh, hey, how you guys doing, man?
We are doing well. Thank you so much, sir. And, again, we apologize, but we are glad we got through to you.
No, I appreciate you guys calling.
Not a problem at all. And once again, we're just going to ask you a couple questions about your career in UFC, WWE, and what you're up to these days, if that's okay. And maybe if it's okay with you towards the end, maybe take a couple of calls from fans.
Sure, that'd be great.
Awesome. I'll let my good buddy here, Austin, fire away with the first question. Go ahead, Austin.
Great. I was going to say, you were involved in a historic match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13 as a special guest referee. How was, being in the atmosphere of WrestleMania and working with them, how was that like?
It definitely was something that, I'll tell you, really was eye-opener for me. Being able to watch two guys like that, be able to go in there and really get after one another, and to actually watch wrestling change right in front of our eyes. I'll tell you, it was a great experience for me, and I'm sure for the fans sitting out watching it was a huge experience.
It was a classic double cross. In this case, it was Steve going over to being a good guy and Bret going over to be the bad guy. You don't see too many moments like that, but that definitely was a moment, and you were definitely a part of it.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, man.
And you actually, before you came into the WWE, you had a really great career in the UFC, and I just got to ask, what attracted you to want to be a part of the UFC when you first started competing in it?
Well, when I started, I was had been over in Japan. I was over there for probably about 3 years before they started doing stuff here. So when I saw flyers that was brought by one of my students, of course, at first I didn't realize that it was real, because like you remember back in the days, No Holds Barred was like wrestling, pro wrestling, Hulk Hogan,
Yeah.
We never saw any of that stuff except for like in movies. And, we all know movies are kind of like just, acting. So when I first heard about it and talked to somebody about it, I didn't really sink into me like this was going to really happen because those things aren't going to be sanctioned in the United States.
Interesting. And the atmosphere now in the UFC as to what it was like then, would you say there's more differences now than it was back then? Was it more? What would you say are some of the biggest differences in the UFC now than it was back then?
Well, first of all, I think that there was no rules, no time limit. It was law, and it literally was. Two guys getting in the ring and one guy's walking out.
That's right.
And judges either. So it literally that's up to you. So, I would say that's the biggest thing. But, there was no gloves. You kick the guy when he's down. So, it's definitely a huge difference between when I did it and what's happening today. But at the same time, understandably, you have to sanction, you have to get laws to get people to abide by certain regulations in a sport. Otherwise, things get out of hand very quickly. So I do understand why the changes had to be made, but again, like I said, it was just a completely different ballgame when I did it than it is today.
So going to WWE, were you actually a fan of professional wrestling beforehand?
My dad was more of a fan. I kind of watched it every now and then with him. But I could name some of the wrestlers and all that, but wasn't like really a huge fan. Once I got involved in wrestling and started doing it, started understanding, what it took, that's when I really started becoming a scholar of wrestling. I started to learn how it really worked and psychology of wrestling and the athleticism in wrestling. So it was just a lot to it. So I really became a fan once I started doing it. I really just was really intrigued by, how hard it was to actually become a WWE wrestling star.
And you actually got to compete with some of the biggest names, as well as be part of during the height of the Attitude Era, when you were a part of Mr. McMahon's corporation. What was it like during that time, the atmosphere of the Attitude Era? Was it pretty, I can imagine it was pretty intense because the crowds were just outrageous back then.
Well, it was exactly what it was, attitude, it literally was. People came out and it was things that people wanted to do that couldn't do. They got to watch people actually do it on TV, like tell your boss where to get off, or punch your boss, or say no to the law, or fill up a car with cement and watch the windows burst out of it. Just everything you think of that was just things that you could not do, we were doing. And so people were actually living their lives to do that, and it was just, like I said, it was exactly what it was, an Attitude Era.
Yeah.
So
and
between professional wrestling and UFC MMA, did you enjoy one more over the other, or was it equal?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I get that one asked all the time. And if you truly love something that you're doing, it stands out. It really does. And I'll tell you, if you look at me in pro wrestling, you look at me in MMA, I truly love both of the things I was doing. And that's one of the reasons why I succeeded in wrestling in a short period of time, is because I was so intrigued with it and the difficulties of pro wrestling and how everybody has got this thought of pro wrestlers and what it is to be one, and they're so far from it, man. It is a very, very difficult profession to be in, and to watch these guys and me to be able to be a part of it, be able to rise to the top, was awesome. But again, like I said, if you put them both out there and ask which one I would do, I couldn't tell you because they were both almost hand in hand with me. I was like, I came from one and fell in love with another, but they both were entwined with each other.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. And I actually would like to hear your opinion on, and I'm not sure if you might have been asked this probably hundreds of times, I'm sure you have, but what were your thoughts about Brock Lesnar making the switch from wrestling over to UFC? And obviously he did his time there, and then it came back to the WWE. What are your thoughts on the transition he made? He did okay somewhat. He did succeed.
Yeah, my thing with Brock Lesnar was he did do well. But Brock Lesnar could have been the best there ever was in MMA if he would have been brought in slowly, been able to give him some matches with guys that had the same amount of fights that he did. Brock got thrown right in there, with guys that had 15 fights, 15-2 or 15-1, and Brock had 1-1 or 2-1, because of his stature and his size and his incredible physical athletic ability. He was right at the top. If he would have gotten time to nurture and be able to groom him and get him prepared for the big show, he could have been one of the greatest there ever was. But unfortunately, in the world that we live in, it's about right now. It's about making money now. And so he wasn't really given the opportunity to really mature into who he could have really been in that world. So I thought he did great for what was handed out his way. But I like where he's at now. I know he's more comfortable. And I think the role that he's playing in his life right now is probably it's a better road for him now. So I wish him the best, and God bless him. I'm glad he's doing what he's doing. But like I said, in my opinion, I thought that he could have done a whole lot better if he would have been nurtured and taken up properly.
How did you actually get started? How did they contact you, or how did you come about to be part of the WWE? How did that come to be?
Well, basically, I had a Carl DeMarco out of Canada reached me early on in my career, and as an MMA fighter, and he thought that I would this would be a great fit for me to be able to take some of these holds and moves and things that I've learned in MMA and be able to switch over into pro wrestling. And if I was ever interested when I came to the point in my career to hold them, and there was a point in time in my career when things were going downward for MMA, period, not just for me, but everywhere. And I reached out and called, basically hooked me up, man. And then once I got hooked up, I jumped in the ring, and it became a natural for me. I never looked back.
You did adapt well, and to this day, when anybody says the world's most dangerous man, they know it is Ken Shamrock.
Well, and I hope it stays that way, too, because I tell you, one thing I've always tried to do throughout my career is to respect my fans, and my fans to respect me, and I want to keep that relationship well into my years of retirement. But, you know, it's a long ways away right now. I know one of the things I'm trying to do is trying to get back into pro wrestling. And for whatever reason, I think there's something going on. I don't know what the reason is, but I've reached out many times to ask, you know, if there's an issue or a problem with me coming back into pro wrestling with the WWE. And basically all I got back was that they just don't. I mean, I guess they don't need me or they don't want me. And then when I asked the fans are all like, yeah, we'd love to see him back. So I'm not quite sure the mix-up there. Did I do something wrong? What's the problem?
That's a good question.
And, you know, we were looking at all your credentials and stuff like that, all your stuff you've done in your career, and it just amazes me because you have to be like one of the most successful people in the entire world. And I mean, like, how can you be so successful, you know, as you are, right?
What would be some of your secrets to being as successful as you've been?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do is just making sure that you always remember where you come from and always have respect for what you've done and for the people that helped you get there. I think if you do that, then, you know, you're when you start slowing down a little bit, your career comes to an end. All those people that you met on your way up are the same ones you're going to meet on the way down. And it won't be such a, you know, a hard fall from that point.
That's true. That's very true. Now, you mentioned that you were trying to reach out to WWE. Had you tried, I mean, because you, as far as TNA wrestling, you became their very first ever World Heavyweight Champion. Had you ever thought of maybe making a comeback to TNA wrestling and reaching out to Dixie Carter?
I basically what I did was basically doing through media is like this right here, basically just reaching out and saying, hey, I have an interest to come back to WWE or come back into TNA pro wrestling. And the one I did get back, not even, you know, face to face. Basically, I got back from the WWE, and I don't even know if it's true or not, but that they weren't interested in it anymore. And I was like, wow. But again, like I said, I don't know if that's true or not. That's just kind of the feedback I got. I was like, wow. I mean, there's a lot of guys up there right now that are getting called back in that that are you know, as far as I'm concerned, you know, I should be there right with them. But for some reason, I'm not getting those opportunities, and I'm not sure why or what I did. I mean, I'm sure it can't be worse than what anybody else has ever done.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, it could be maybe because it's under almost new management at this point with Stephanie and Triple H taking over the company almost. Not completely, obviously, it still lies with Vince, but I mean, now that Triple H is in the office, I don't know. I'm not saying that's the reason, but with the change in the company, I don't know.
That has been my suspicion because Vince has always, in my opinion, even with people that he's had problems with, people left his company and they went over you know, WCW. I mean, Vince brings people back business smart-wise, right? He doesn't let personal things get in the way in order to make money. But this sounds more like somebody who really doesn't know the business very well and that lets personal issues get in the way, because I know I've had issues with Hunter, Triple H, and it does smell like a person that isn't as well-rounded in business and that lets personal issues get in the way rather than making good decisions to make money for the business.
Yeah, I mean, if you got something to give back, and you definitely do, you definitely want to give back, at least give it another go and entertain the fans again. I mean, if they're allowing some of the guys from that era to come back as they have been, I wouldn't see why it wouldn't be in their best interest, especially to make money working with you again.
Right. And again, like I said, I don't even know what the issues are. That's what I'm saying. I'm left to guess. But I've gotten no response other than the one where they basically don't need me or don't want me. I'm thinking to myself, you know, man, this is business, people. I mean, that's why I don't think it's Vince, because Vince is, a lot of people have done a lot worse things to Vince, and Vince takes him back because he sees an opportunity to make money.
Amen. That's true. You know, you see what happened with the issues with him and Hulk Hogan, and he's come back several times.
Yep. So, you know, to me, it just seems like there's some people that are there that probably have a harder time letting those smaller things go and think about the way of making money for the company as being top priority.
Understood.
Because, I mean, as far as I know, I don't think that there's an issue about whether or not people want to see me wrestle or not. I think we put that to rest a long time ago with the way the fans responded to it.
Absolutely. I mean, you were the inventor of the ankle lock. You created that, and then look at everybody else doing it.
Well, look at wrestling prior to Ken Shamrock and then after Ken Shamrock. How many rest holds or how many holds do they have now that are MMA caliber holds? I mean, they're all over the place. You look at it prior to me going in there was none.
That's true. You know, that's very true, especially, I mean, with guys who are big fans of the UFC like The Undertaker and Steve Austin, and, I mean, Steve's retired, but, you know, these guys were definitely big fans, and I know that The Undertaker liked to use a lot of the UFC into his repertoire, into moves that they're, I mean, to a point anyway, but he uses those type of moves in his matches, and so, yeah, that does make sense. I mean, before then, during the New Generation / Golden Era, a lot of those type of moves weren't really something that they would do during that time. So, yeah, you got a good point there. And,
well, see what happens because, like I said, I think this is like the 7th or 8th one I've done where I've asked the question of is there a reason why they don't want me back? Did I do something where I should stop trying? Or is it just communications that are not there, or is it really that they don't want me back? Because they don't.
I would definitely keep trying if anything, you know. But I actually wanted to ask you, during those years that you were working with the WWE, you got to work, like I mentioned, with several big names. Was there any particular names that you enjoyed working with the most? Did you get a kick out of working with? It was like a breeze, or ones that you probably didn't like working with? Was there some memorable moments that you might want to share from that time working with such great people that you had on the roster?
Well, I'll tell you, I enjoyed working. One was The Rock. We had a good angle going there. I thought we had a really good program. I thought some of the highlights were like being able to train with Bret Hart, learning his psychology, being able to work with Shawn Michaels in matches, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and The Undertaker, and the list goes on and on with the opportunities that I had to be able to work with these guys. It was incredible.
Was there ever one that, well, because I know in your instance, I know if you got to learn how, you got to be able to dish it out, and you got to be able to take it. I'm sure. Was there anybody that was a little bit more rougher in the ring than others?
No, I think they were all pretty cool. Man, like I said, it was really none that really stood out to me in a bad way. Like I said, there were a lot of good hands I got to work with. Very fortunate working with them. So, but as far as bad ones, no, I like I said, I always had real good experiences with all those top guys in there. They were really, really open with me, and they came in and really worked well with me, and I really appreciated that.
Absolutely. You also got to work with, although brief, I mean, but you did get to work with Owen Hart. How was that? What was it like working with him?
Owen Hart was a real good dude, man. He's one of the more truer guys to work with, you know. He's a real nice guy. You go in and work with him. He's always kidding around. A really good guy to be around because you're always going to be happy. And just a true guy. You can believe in what he's going to tell you, too. The guy's pretty straight up and honest.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean,
so
go ahead.
Being the first TNA World Heavyweight Champion, how was it like to be, the first person to hold that championship for the company that was starting up in 2002? What was that experience like?
Say that again?
What was it like to become the very first TNA World Heavyweight Champion? Was it something that you were excited about? Was a company, because as a new company out there at the time in 2002, what was it like to be their first World Heavyweight Champion?
Yeah, it was really awesome. Like I said, I've been very fortunate in a lot of different places. A lot of different times to become the first champion of organizations. The WWE, the WWE with the Lion's Den match, being able to do that where they had kids, able to do that first time straitjacket match with Jeff Jarrett. I got to do that one. Also too with the Pancrase organization, be the first champion of the Pancrase organization, heavyweight champion, and then also still being the first superfight champion of the UFC. So they've been on top of it in TNA and entertainment business to be a part of something like that, and it's still going with all the great names like Hulk Hogan and Nash and all these guys who are still a part of that, and have my name in there with that, man. That is just a huge honor.
Absolutely. You know, when they go back to the history of the company, you're right up there with them, man. You helped them get started out there, and to say that Ken Shamrock was your very first world heavyweight champion, that says something. I mean, that's definitely a huge part of your life.
It's a huge honor to me too when you're looking at the greats that are involved with TNA. I mean, these guys are just flowing in there, and it's like, man, I almost feel like it's almost a humiliation to look at these guys, the things that they've done in pro wrestling, and then have my name at the top of that, being a lead of that organization is quite humbling, man. I tell you, it's hard to get used to that.
Yeah, I mean, they've been around 11 years now, and they're still going pretty strong. I mean, do you keep in contact with any of the guys in TNA, or even that, for that matter, WWE?
No, I do keep in contact with different guys every now and then, dropping dime here and there, but because I travel so much and I'm doing so many things right now, I haven't really had a chance to keep up on the politics of it. Even with me not being in there, with some of the things that were said about them not wanting me there, I got to see that, some of them, and it's basically, there's a jealousy there. And I don't want to start any heat with that, but it comes down with the management. And it's almost like these guys are going, it's just so stupid, because here's an opportunity to bring in somebody who helped kickstart the WWF back in the Attitude Era days by bringing a guy in from MMA to come in and actually start create some art style. And now we have an opportunity to make it edgy again and bring in myself and do something like that again, and they're turning their noses up in the air, and it's almost like, what did I do so wrong to make them not want to make some changes and make money?
Exactly.
So do you keep up with the current product, in WWE TNA?
Actually, do you keep up with in your spare time between projects, do you keep up with the WWE TNA stories at all?
Oh, it's hard for me because I travel a lot. And again, like I said, I have contact every now and then with different people. I don't get to keep up a lot of politics and stuff goes on there. Every now and then I'll catch a match here and there, but you got to watch that for a long period of time to be able to follow everything that's going on. So I don't have time to really do that. But I do know this is some of the things that I have seen and watched. I really, really think they need to make some changes and try and get back to that Attitude Era and get some harder stuff going in there. I think they're almost there. I think they're almost getting it. But there's, like I said, I think let's get back in that Attitude Era, man. We need to start looking at that and figuring out how we can start pushing that envelope a little bit farther now.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's always good to push it a little further each time, depending on how far you can get it. It always, above anything else, the ones who benefit the most from that are the fans.
Well, you got to keep up with times because everybody's pushing. Just like sending a rocket to the moon. Everybody thought it was crazy, let alone land on it. But if you're going to live in this world and you're going to try and create and be the best, then you've always got to be looking for ways to push and be better.
You're right. Now, I know that you are the very first person in the UFC Hall of Fame. If at some time down the line, who's to say in the very near future, if WWE decides somewhere to go ahead and extend an invitation to be inducted into their WWE Hall of Fame, would you accept?
That's a no-brainer, dude. I mean, absolutely. And it's not a secret, man. I really, really enjoyed the times I was in pro wrestling. I learned a lot. I gained much respect for it, and people that were involved in it. And absolutely, that's a part of my history and part of who I am. That I became came over the years.
Yeah, agreed.
And now it's being taken away from me for whatever reasons. I have no friggin' idea, but it seems like it's happening to me in the WWE. It happens to me in the UFC. It seems like there's jealousy or people are afraid of something about me. I don't know what it is, man, but, I don't think I'm that much different than most athletes, good or bad, for someone to make decisions on whether or not I should be inducted into a Hall of Fame or not. I don't think that should be up to people, or there should be any decisions made outside of an organization that owns it. It should be outside of that, left up to voters and stuff. To me, it's a lot of that stuff that goes on there is what, in the end, if they don't change it, it's going to kill them.
That's true. That is very true. And speaking of UFC, if the opportunity came for you to ever have a rematch with an old rival, like with a name like Tito Ortiz, would that ever be something you'd consider doing again if the opportunity was right?
Heartbeat. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, but again, I would never do what I did during those times, which I was, in a spot where it had to be done because UFC was hurting and they needed someone to come in and help push those numbers and be able to continue to keep put shows on. So they were, they needed some numbers to be brought up. And I was in a spot where I was really seriously injured. And on all three of those fights, I had bad injuries. But we were in a time where there was no time for anybody to sit out and get surgeries done because we needed numbers now. And so I sacrificed me being in the best of shape and probably being healthy enough to go into those matches in order for us to keep UFC where it is today. So, but I'm okay with that. I made those decisions on my own. No one forced me to make those decisions. I made those. I'm happy with them. But if I had an opportunity to fight them again, I'd do it on my terms and making sure that I was healthy enough to go in that ring and fight the way I should fight.
Absolutely. Do you feel that you're right now at this point in your life? Do you feel that you obviously did say you have another good run left in you to do wrestling, and health-wise, are you doing okay health-wise? That you're ready to do that? Are you ready to commit yourself to going back on the road again?
Oh yeah, dude. I'm so far past what I was 3, 4, 5 years ago. My health is in top shape. The fact is, if people see my body now, I'm shredded right now. I'm ripped up, got abs. I'm in great shape, and so thank God that He gave me the ability to heal well, because I wouldn't be where I'm at if I didn't have the blessings from Him.
That is very true. At one point in the near future, would you ever consider maybe opening a wrestling school / maybe MMA style type school? Maybe teach a new crop of kids how to perform in the ring and so forth?
Well, that's definitely something that could be possibly down the road. But right now, I've got a reality show that we're getting ready to shoot the pilot on.
Very cool.
On 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th. We'll be shooting it here in Reno, and it's a company that I'm involved with. It's a bodyguard Pipebomb company, and they're going to shoot kind of the reality series of a professional athlete like myself and my business of being a bail bond security business. So we got quite a thing that we're getting started right now that we're getting ready to do. So, but yeah, that's something that could be a possibility once we start getting all this stuff locked down and we don't, we're not so busy to where I could spend time to do it right.
Yes. When can we actually look forward to seeing this reality show hit the airwaves?
Well, it would all depend, because we shoot what do you call it? Not the sizzle reel, but the kind of like the trailer.
Okay.
We're shooting that on the 27th, 24th to the 27th of July, and then History Channel will look at it, and then they'll either say yeah or change it. And then once we get the go-ahead on it, it should be within, 30 days to, 3 months before we see it on TV.
Definitely look forward to checking it out, man. We definitely want to see what you're up to right now and how that's going to go, and we'll definitely keep our fingers crossed as far as the professional wrestling area. If you definitely one of the two companies, or for that matter, even for there's always Ring of Honor as well. Have you considered that an option?
Yeah, those guys are awesome too, man. They're real fast, but I don't know. We can see what happens. I'm not. Like I said, it's something that I enjoy doing, and if I'm going to do it, I want to do it at the highest level.
Absolutely.
Because it's not something that I have to do, but it's something that I want to do. And WWE is the only place that I have gone to that I have not reached the elite level, captured the heavyweight championship. Every other organization I got involved with, I achieved the highest level. So that's something that still weighs on me a little bit. Really have had that opportunity, and why I didn't get that opportunity, I don't know, and really doesn't matter. It would be great to have an opportunity to try it again, but we'll see what happens as time goes on. Time will tell.
That's a good way to look at it. And I was going to ask you now, would you be okay with taking a couple of calls from fans?
Absolutely.
All righty. I believe we have our good buddy Jagger calling in here from Salt Lake City. Jagger, you're on the air with Ken Shamrock. Did you have a question for him?
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Shamrock.
How you
doing?
Felix.
I'm doing good. How are you? Hi, Felix. Hi, Austin. I was wondering if you had any advice for, guys for, the younger generation that's wanting to be in the business and that's been in the business for a while and trying to go where you were. And if you've done any indie scenes or if you're interested on taking bookings to come do indie scenes.
Well, I'll tell you, as far as younger guys trying to get in the business, I'd say be persistent, get with a good teacher, and never give up. Follow up on your dreams. But as far as me, I'm not looking to just do bookings. I'm looking to be at that elite level.
That makes sense.
I understand.
Did you have any other questions for him, Jagger?
No, you pretty much answered the one question if he was going to start in a wrestling school or teach anything. So,
that's awesome. Yeah.
Other than that, I can't wait to see your reality show. I love the way that you worked in the ring, and I can't wait till you actually come back and blow the roof off WWE, because I do agree with you. They need a new improvement because their product is going down soon.
They need attitude.
Yep, they need Ken Shamrock.
That's right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks for calling in, man.
Thank you.
All right. That was cool. The next person we have here is also a good friend of ours. His name is Joey. Let's go ahead and bring him on here real quick.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Joey. You're on the air with Ken Shamrock. What's your question for him?
Hey, Mr. Shamrock.
What's going on, man?
I'm a long-time fan of yours. Back in the Attitude Era.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Man, I was wondering if, you know, back in the Attitude Era, you guys had, how you saying that you could have gotten the run for the WWF title?
Yeah.
Did that, bother you? Like I know that you said that it was, a lot of weight on your shoulder, that, you had, that one goal to be WWF champion, and, I think there was a lot of times you could have been,
you had opportunities.
I had a lot of opportunities, but I didn't get a chance to run in a program to capture it. But, I reached the elite level of every organization I was ever in, and championship, being the heavyweight champion. And, but, it's like this. I did. But that's the only one that I ever got involved with that I didn't reach that elite level. But, who knows? If I get a shot to go back there, and see how the things lay out and see what happens. All I know is that I just like an answer, whether it's not going to happen, they're not interested in me, and the reasons why. Is it personal? If it's personal, that sucks. There's no reason for that.
Yeah.
If it's because no one wants to see me, then I'd like to know that.
That's fair enough. I mean, at least to give a good reason, that's definitely fair. At least that way you know that this wasn't done for this reason.
Right.
But so did you have another question for him, Joey?
Yeah. Have you watched any of the current product?
No.
like the now, superstars have you heard of? Like CM Punk and, like any of them?
Yeah, I've heard of them. I've even watched a few of them. I just don't get a lot of time to follow them because, like I said, I travel a lot right now, trying to keep my business opportunities live. I've heard that there's a lot of definitely a lot of talent, but there's just some of the feedback I got back from some of the boys. It's real difficult right now because it's almost like they gave them this attitude era and then they just stopped. There's no like people
there's no attitude.
So
but
maybe
it's still good. It's still good product. It's just like there's a lot of good athletes out there still. Like Punk or Daniel Bryan. They're really good athletes.
Athletes, there's absolutely no question. Great athletes. There's no doubt. Best in the world right now as far as pro wrestling. But you got to we've got to push the limits too. We've always got to keep pushing that envelope to get better. I know that's what Vince Mac is the best.
True.
He's always pushing things to where almost like you couldn't show it on TV. He was always pushing.
Yeah.
True.
And I also got one more question.
Go ahead.
If you had any chance to wrestle, like a wrestler that you haven't wrestled yet, who would it be?
That's a good question.
Who would it be? Well, I wrestled a lot of them too. I would probably
like someone that you haven't wrestled yet that you would want to wrestle.
Yeah. Man.
I would definitely love to see you go off against Kurt Angle.
Oh, that would be great.
Kurt Angle would be one of my picks, but I also
I would have loved to see you face Chris Benoit, but we all know,
Yeah,
like, those are good picks, but I don't know. It's hard to say because I was like got you on the spot, huh?
Not on the spot. It's like I'd have to point out a name and leave a lot of them out. And then, quite honestly, if I did that,
well, at least name three. How about that?
I'd love to work with. I'd just be hard to pick one guy because I've been able to work with so many of them and great hands. Then you pick out one guy out of what's left. It's very tough because there's so many good guys that I haven't wrestled also.
Yeah, but at the top of your head, who would you?
Probably Brock Lesnar.
Wow,
that's a good.
Yeah, if I was going to say that, I'd say Brock Lesnar. But again, like I said, man, there's just so many guys out there that I haven't wrestled also that would be great matchups, man.
Well, you and Rock had a great matches together, though.
Yeah, we did. Well, I tell you, that was one of my favorite times. Him and Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker. I mean, it was just.
Yeah, and I can remember when the whole thing with with your sister and Val Venus and.
Yeah, I mean, and see, that's to me, those are things we gotta get. We just gotta, man. I don't know, man. There's just so much. There's so much talent out there, man. It just seems like. I don't know, man. I don't know what it is, but there's just so much talent out there, and it seems like we could be doing more, and I just don't know. I mean, I know they're trying. There's no doubt, man. There's no way I could do any better.
They've been bringing a lot of people back. Like, Rob Van Dam's coming back this Sunday at Money in the Bank.
Yeah, so why ain't I back?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's true.
You should
get a hold of Hunter and Vince or something. Talk to somebody because I think they need you.
I've tried that, and basically the response I got back, not from their mouths, but from the word, was that they just don't need me right now.
I think that's total bullshit right there. Because I would have think that I think it would be a surprise entry in the next year's Royal Rumble.
That's
it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think because they'll bring anybody back for a surprise entry at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
well, they have the saying in the wrestling business: never say never.
Yep, right. Anything can happen.
Well, that's why I'm doing these shows like this, being able to speak out, asking and wanting to know what the reasons are, man. It's like, come on. Really?
I know. What was the reason why you left WWE? That's what I want to know.
I couldn't spend time with my family. I was 2.5 years on the road. My kids were growing up without me. I went to them and asked them, hey, it's just tough right now.
It makes a lot of sense.
Go back home and keep my family together.
Yep, that's true. That's always important.
So I appreciate you calling in, Joey. Did you have any other questions for him, or?
I have one more, and that's it.
Okay, go for it.
How did it feel winning the King of the Ring?
Oh, that was, especially with all them guys in there, man, and last one standing, man, that was cool. It's like I fought a 16-man tournament over in Japan, and Pancrase captured the first Pancrase title, and I fought 16 different people, and I'll tell you, that was, when you can outlast that many people, it almost makes you feel like a king. You're it. You're the man.
Yep.
That's cool. Well, Joey, I do appreciate you calling in, and I know you'll probably want to hang tight and listen to the rest of the show. We appreciate you.
It's been an honor talking to Ken Shamrock, man. You're the man.
Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your call.
All right, buddy.
No problem, buddy. Hang in there.
I will, man. Thanks. You guys keep pushing for me.
We'll definitely keep going for you. And, I do want to ask my co-host here, Austin, did you have another question for Mr. Shamrock?
No, I just wanted to say I have a bunch of respect for everything you've done in your career. I mean, it's such inspiration to be, how successful you are. I definitely want to, be somewhat similar to Ken Shamrock and how all the accolades you have, man. It's really inspiration. I have a bunch of respect for you.
It just goes to show you that hard work and determination pays off, and you definitely have worked your butt off, and it shows. You've done a lot of firsts in your career, so that says something right there.
Well, I appreciate it, too, and when people say that to me, those people just kind of think you're just saying it. But I tell you, anybody that's listening out there, I know for myself, and I know there's some other guys out there, when people really show their appreciation for what we've done and accomplished over the years, it really it touches down real deep on our appreciation for how the fans have really, really understood and appreciated what we've done. And it really does touch us, and we really appreciate it.
Oh, we know you do. We know you do because you keep doing it, and people still love you for it. They still follow you. They still want to know what you're up to, and like you said, they still want to see you get out there and maybe have another run at WrestleMania against, who knows, maybe we'll see you take on The Undertaker in his streak, and we'll see if you can beat him for it or something,
There it is, right there.
That'd be something to think about. But I do have one more caller calling in, and if it's okay, do you want to just go ahead and take that, or?
Sure.
All right, let's go ahead and bring this caller on. Hello, caller. You're on the line with Ken Shamrock. Did you have a question for him?
Yes, I did. We all know that you've made a really successful career from WWE, UFC, and we've been talking about it all night. How hard was it to make the transition between the two?
Between UFC and WWE?
Yeah, in terms of conditioning and stuff like that.
It wasn't for me. It was actually a real smooth transition for me. I think a lot of it had to do with the idea that, and which has helped me out through my whole life, is I've always understood that I'm just another human being, another person trying to make it in this world. And so whenever I go to something like from being a world champion in the UFC and maybe some of the guys in the WWE are looking at it going, man, this dude's, he's a badass, man. He's coming in here, and, man, but I always walked up and I shook everybody's hand in the locker room, and I said, man, I appreciate you guys letting me come in. I realize this is, your guys' world, and I'm here to learn. I'm here to learn, and I know that I'm starting out here, and I really appreciate any help that you guys could give me. And I'm a student. And I've taken my life like that, kind of like when I go somewhere where I know other people have put in the time and the hard work, and I may have jumped into that spotlight, but I have to understand these guys have been there while working hard, that I have to respect what they've already done, and that I'm just there being a student. And so by doing that and everything that I've done in every aspect of my life, I've always been able to get as much out of somebody to help me progress as I could, doing it maybe another way of trying to be a hard ass. So I really appreciate all the help I got and the respect that I got from the guys that were working with me, and a lot of it had to do with me showing respect first.
That's true, and you definitely went in and did that as well. That's a good question.
And that's
Did you have another question for him?
No, because all my questions were pretty much taken throughout the night.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. So it's good to at least, be able to talk with somebody like Ken Shamrock. It's a huge deal for me.
Well, listen, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. No problem. All right. Yes, definitely we have one of the original badasses from the Attitude Era, let's put it that way. We have the, if not the original badass on there. Yeah, because well, because I like to bring this up because I read it and it was such a phenomenal book. It was the book written by Bob Holly, and I know he was somebody I know you kind of worked with briefly. If not, I'm not sure if you guys actually had any matches together, if I can recall. Did you guys have any matches together?
I don't remember. If we did, there were some small matches, but I was around him a lot. He's a tremendous person.
Yeah, he definitely was somebody who spoke about what was going on behind the scenes, and definitely of guys who worked with, and he mentioned how much you were, without a doubt, you and Steve Blackman. Those two, you guys were not guys that people wanted to mess with or piss off in any way because you'd be in big trouble.
Yeah.
But he had a tremendous amount of respect for you, and I just had to point that out because he mentioned you in his book, and he did say how much of respect he did have for you.
Yeah, he was a good dude.
But I actually want to say though, Austin, are you still in there? Did you have any other questions for Mr. Shamrock?
And that was it. Everybody, y'all. I'm just sitting back here listening because Ken, you're such an awesome guy, and you answered every single question from the fans. I mean, a bunch of respect from me, from me to you.
Well, that's true because I know Mr. Shamrock actually does. He just like our prior guest last night. We had. Do you remember Ahmed Johnson? Yes, he was another one, and like yourself, that you guys are, brutally honest. If you don't want, like he said last night, if you don't want to know, then don't ask me.
That's right.
But he was definitely a guy we had on, and you guys are very similar in the way you answer things. If you give it out, you don't sugarcoat it. You say what you feel, and that's how you should do it.
Yeah, it's unfortunately sometimes that's really hard to do. But I think once you start doing it that way and not hiding things, even though some things you say may hurt you to a point, but once you start getting in the habit of doing that, I think then you'll start gaining a little bit more respect from the fans, the media, even though some things may hurt you, but it's better to be that way and explain yourself why you were that way.
I do have another question in the instance. You obviously know who Kurt Angle is, and when he came in, it was kind of around that time when you had, I think, parted ways with WWE, because he was in towards the end of '99, and he started using the ankle lock. Did you ever get a chance to see how he was using it, and if so, do you feel like he was doing it as good as you, maybe the same as you, because he was pretty intense in the ring and still is even to this day. As I said, him in a match with you, that would be money, let me tell you.
Well, I can say this, that if he ever tried to use that hold in a real shoot, the guy that he was doing it to would laugh.
Really? That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, not enough. No, he doesn't have enough pressure in all the right spots. So,
because he had actually at one point was training to actually compete in the UFC. He wanted to try it at one point, but some would figure because he's older now. He's in his late 40s, but he keeps himself in tremendous shape. I mean, he's a beast in the ring. Let's put it that way. He can compete with the young guys and give them a hell of a match. But that's something to think about. I mean, hopefully, if it happens, whether it be in the WWE someday in the future or even TNA Wrestling, we would. I know I can speak for myself in this, but I would definitely love to see that match, and hopefully it does happen. Because if I could be there to watch it live, you better believe I'm going to be there.
Well, like I said, I think there's a lot of great matches out there that could happen. Unfortunately, like I said, I'm not sure. In fact, I think I am. I do know, but I'm not sure. But I think I know what the problem is, what the issue is, and it has to do with the new management. I think there's some jealousy there or something. But whatever it is, it would be nice to know what the problem was.
And hopefully people are listening and they can kind of put out word to the WWE, they need to bring back this guy, Ken Shamrock, because he's a beast and he's still got something to go, and he can definitely give these kids a run for their money.
And it's our damn money that we're putting on those tickets and giving you guys, making you rich to listen to us what we want to see.
Exactly. Because I know I can speak for Austin and myself, and for the callers that called in tonight. We would love to see you back in the ring. Definitely. That would be something to see, and it would be money.
I'd love to be there.
We definitely wish you luck with that.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate your guys' support too.
Oh yeah, we definitely do support you, and whatever it is that you do, that's what I say. We definitely look forward to seeing this new reality show that you're working on, and I can say that in this case, since I don't think there is any other further questions from Austin, I wanted to ask though, if the fans want to follow you, say through this social media, since it's obviously such a big thing now, bigger now than it was back then. How can the fans follow you? Do you have like a Facebook fan page, or even a Twitter, Instagram, any of those kind of pages at all?
Yeah, hang on a second. You guys got a pen on you?
You know what? I do. Let me grab it real quick. Go ahead.
Hey, Tanya. Hang on a second, because I do, and I really want people to get on my Twitter and my Facebook, because my Facebook might be full, but they could still message me on there and stuff.
That's cool.
But hang on. Hey, what's my Twitter? It's Shamrock Ken, and you have to do it because if you do it otherwise, there's Ken Shamrock, there's other things on there, but it's Shamrock Ken.
And would you think about possibly doing like an Instagram or maybe a Vine account or anything like that?
I got LinkedIn.
Okay, I know that one.
Yeah, I got LinkedIn. And what's my Facebook? Ken Tanya Shamrock. Ken and Tanya Shamrock. Ken Tanya, not Ken. No, it's Ken Tanya. Yeah, Ken Tanya.
Yeah, I know. I definitely sent you a friend request, so I could say that. But
yeah, did it go through? I think it's full.
Have you considered making a fan page for fans to keep up with you as well?
We do have a fan page. What's that one?
Oh, cool.
It's Lions Den Reno.
I'm sorry, Lions Den what?
Reno.
Oh, okay. So those listening in, definitely you can keep track of what Ken's up to these days by his Twitter handle at Shamrock Ken. He's got his Facebook fan page, facebook.com/LionsDenReno. And he's also on LinkedIn. What's that?
Yeah, and I also, with the Twitter, I'm the one that does the Twitter and my Facebook. So if you get feedback from it, it's me talking. So.
Oh, perfect. That definitely, because these days everybody's pretending to be somebody else.
Exactly, and I've got so many fakes out there that people are always complaining they don't know who's real and who's not real. I had one guy on there said, "Send me a picture so that you make sure it's you," and I was like, "I'm not doing that."
Yeah, you got to watch out for that.
Yeah. But I understand it because there's so many things out there. People are trying to make money off of other people's thing,
Speaking of the internet and the social media, before we go part ways, I wanted to get your opinion. Do you feel, because you were there during wrestling's peak. I mean, they had competition and everything, and it was just hot. Do you feel, between now and then, the internet has kind of killed a little bit of the mystique of wrestling?
No. No.
You don't think so? That's fair enough.
No, I think if you're a wrestling fan, you understand the difference between going to one live and watching one on pay-per-view. I'm sorry, but there's no comparison. Going to one live is awesome.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I've been to many of them. I've been to 6 WrestleManias, so yes, I know.
So man, like I said, if you haven't been to one live, you got to do it.
Agreed. Well, we want to say on behalf of myself and Austin, Mr. Shamrock, it has been an extreme honor and a pleasure to get to speak with you.
Definitely.
And we also wanted to thank your manager as well, Miss Tinio, for helping set this up as well. as well as your wife. She's definitely helped take part in this and helped making it happen for us, and all the callers that called in tonight to talk to you. We all are honored and totally privileged to be able to sit and just listen to you tell some stories about the time in wrestling and, you know, the great accomplishments you've had in your life. And
well, listen, I
we pray that
appreciate
you get to come back.
And I really appreciate what you guys are doing and being able to reach out and touch the fans and stuff. And I just want everybody to understand that if you meet anybody that loves their fans more than I love them, then you've done that's an accomplishment, because I truly believe, and it's always preached all through my career, that without the fans we would not be where we're at today. And I really want to return that favor by being able to meet, shake hands, and sign pictures and talk to my fans as much as I can, because I really appreciate what they do for all the athletes in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. Have you ever considered writing a book?
I've got 2 of them out already.
Really?
So,
wow, I need to
one in 96, and then I did another one back in 98.
Damn, I need to catch up on get these books and start to reading.
Right, I should get another one coming out soon after these reality shows and stuff start going.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Definitely got to look forward. What do you remember the names of those books? I'd definitely like to check them out.
Yeah, Enter the Lion's Den and Beyond the Lion's Den.
So one of them you said is Enter the Lion's Den?
Yes.
And then the other one is?
Beyond the Lion's Den.
Beyond the Lion's Den. Awesome. I'm going to check those out because I'm almost sure they'll probably be available on Amazon.
Yeah.
All righty. I know I keep stalling, but again, Mr. Shamrock, it's a pleasure to speak with you. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, between us, we definitely thank you for taking time to talk to us and reach out and talk with your fans as well.
Much respect from me to you, like seriously.
Well, I appreciate it, you guys, and keep doing what you're doing. And to all my fans, I love you guys. Keep rocking.
All righty, Mr. Shamrock. You have yourself a great night.
All right, you too.
All right, bye-bye.